good. It's great.
It's all done for you.
Did you run here? You did?
Welcome to the City Commission meeting and special meeting. Please turn off and silence all cell phones during the meeting. The meetings are televised on Channel 2 at 6 p.m. and midnight and available for viewing on YouTube. So welcome. First off, we're going to have a semi-annual report from the University of St. Mary. Sister Diane, welcome. It is so good to see you. I feel like it's been a while.
Well, I had a new knee, so I'm
Oh.
still kind of jumping.
Well, is it bionic yet or still?
I'm not quite bionic.
Yeah,
but
almost.
I believe in potential.
Good. Well, we're glad you're here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And that tree you see right there on the edge is a tulip tree, and it's in full bloom right now.
Oh,
So
that's
it might be
great.
because of the blizzard tomorrow.
Oh,
We should take that down.
A few updates from the university. Glad to report things are going well, and we continue to grow. Our business department is sending 10 students to FBLA, which is the Future Business Leaders of America, and they compete in things like entrepreneurship, international business, economics, so very proud of sending them off to Texas. We have an or a Spires trading team that trades actual money. They learn to trade puts and calls, and we have now incorporated that into St. Mary Fund, and we're able to take other people's money. So we have now instead of investing 1 million, we're investing 3 million.
oh, wow.
And the earnings from that pay for the tuition room and board. And besides, usually when they leave with job in hand. So that's a very exciting program for us to help our students. Our master's in social work, we're very proud to say, is fully accredited. That allows us to take people from Missouri now. That program is fully online and right now has 80 students in it.
Wow.
So we should be producing some masters in social work for our great needs in our state. Our accelerated nursing program, which is for people who already have a bachelor's degree, is going to be able to move online to make it more flexible for people who are already working. So they'll be able to do the didactic work, what we would call classroom work, and then come to campus for a week or two to make sure they have their clinical skills ready to go. That will open it up to a lot more people because it's hard to give up a full year of pay from your regular job while you're learning to be tooled for the next job. So we're glad to be able to offer that. We're going to be hosting a summer camp for the science people. So to help our science teachers be better prepared to teach science, we have partnered with a group that's going to bring in about 75 teachers to campus, and our faculty will be help teaching them. Again, a lot of hands-on information. How do you best teach science is by doing science. How do you engage young people is by helping them do science. And as a teacher myself, we like to leave with tricks in hand. So here are lesson plans you can take back with you. So that will bring a little more economy to the city as well. St. Mary continues to expand our prison education program. So right now we have about 120 incarcerated individuals enrolled. So we're at the Lansing Correctional Facility, the disciplinary barracks at the fort, and we're at the federal prison. So that at this point we now have 3 and we will have 4 full-time employees managing that program as it continues to grow. Very, very inspirational, and all of the academic ceremonies we do on campus, we modify and take into the facilities. So we have a matriculation ceremony we just did with the disciplinary barracks. We bring all our regalia, we bring our flags, and we'd have to do it in the chapel with candles, but we now have several sets of twist-on candles as when they become St. Mary's, and we do graduation in there as well. So, athletic side, we've had a great winter. Our men's and women's wrestling team both won the conference and sent 10 kids to nationals. Swimming sent 5 kids to nationals. Women won the indoor track, and we also have 2 national champions out of that for indoor track. Men's basketball won the conference in our gym 2 weeks ago, and it was a wild, raucous party. So that was great fun. They went to, thank God they only had to go to Oklahoma for nationals. Our friends in Wichita had to go to Idaho.
Oh, wow.
Last Friday, we hosted the Kansas City Athletic Conference Cheer and Dance Championship. Both our teams won and will be going on to nationals.
Wow.
Whenever we can, we volunteer to host, because that means people come to Leavenworth, they stay in our hotels, they eat our food, and they shop.
Thank you for that.
So,
Yeah.
well, it's the partnership of the First City U. Our little flags that kids wave around say First City U. So we're very excited about that as well. We're in the midst of finishing up a 5 to 10 year master plan, and it ranges from what I would call tweaks and surgicals to overhauls. First, we need our bathrooms at baseball and softball. It's kind of a basic human need, so we're gonna take care of that. And probably our biggest thing we're gonna do is take on Xavier Hall. Xavier is one of our older buildings. We're hoping to be able to flatten the theater floor so that I envision it like a hotel ballroom that will be flexible. We're really looking for flexibility for people to use it. It can be a concert hall, you can host a banquet there, you can break it into spaces for different learning. That's our big project there. The second floor, we're gonna move our broadcasting studio into that. We broadcast all of our own games, our students do that, we have classes in that, so we wanna make sure they have a bigger space to do that as well. Also the green rooms for projecting, and virtual reality learning. So we're excited about that as well. We're gonna make a bigger simulation lab because our nursing program grows, so we need to have a simulation lab for that. And then in some of the older spaces, we have beautiful, gorgeous buildings whose interior walls are about 2 foot thick, so you don't move them. So we're gonna create more high-flex learning spaces. If you remember our classrooms are traditionally in rows, you just sit and listen. Well, high-flex classroom is everything's on wheels and moves. So there is no center of the room, there's no front of the room. So the teacher can be here, the students can be in groups. So the students really appreciate those and the faculty love it, and it encourages more hands-on involved learning, which we're really pushing because we know if you want people to learn, they have to do.
Yeah.
The other thing we're really excited about is our new partnership with Kansas Community College, KCCC. A student enrolls in St. Mary and learns a trade at the community college while they're also getting their bachelor's with us.
Wow.
So they're enrolled with us. We have a carpenter now who's a cross-country runner who eventually wants his own business. So he will graduate with 2 certificates of being a carpenter and a business degree.
That's great.
Wow,
So he's
ready to go.
very excited. We have another 10 to go, so.
And he can
Marcia
run.
Ryan.
And
Yeah,
he's a runner.
and he's a runner. So it also gives the kids the college experience they were looking for. But we're looking to probably have 10 or 12. And Marcia Irvine at the
She's
community
great.
college has been marvelous to work with. So our hats off to her too. So that's our new adventure. We continue to explore what are the needs out there. So we're probably going to be bringing on another doctorate, probably doctorate in public health, doctorate in health science, something
Yes. Yes.
in that area. So we're in the middle of the market study for that one. But I'm happy to report that First City U is doing well, excited and continuing to grow.
I love that.
I love
First
it
City.
too.
You got t-shirts made already?
Yeah, I feel like we need.
Yeah.
We need to see t-shirts.
T-shirts.
What we have is little flags they play with at the games, the First City U. We need
Love
t-shirts.
that.
How many students do you have right now?
In the fall, we had over 1,400.
Great, that's great.
I have a question with your social work program growing. Do the students do their practicums or in-time internships at the local nonprofits here? Is that
The bachelor in social work, which is on the main campus, yes, they do.
yes? Okay.
Yes.
the
they're
master's
over
is
at the masters, if they're local, they do it here. But
Okay.
that's online, totally online, so if they're all over the country.
Okay.
But the local ones do. I know they're at the shelter.
Oh, good. Okay.
One of them is at is at one of the other nursing homes on the other side. So yeah, they're all placed locally.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. And the idea is they fall in love and stay.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
No, thank you. Thank you for
It's
your
always great to
update.
have you
Yep.
here.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate coming.
Yeah, and it's on TV, so the public can see what you're doing too. It's a good
Yes,
thing
well,
to have you
thank you for
here.
the opportunity. And I like t-shirts. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
We need to mention the change in the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
yeah.
need a motion to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
So it was suggested that we move up, so our attorney's here, that we move up number 5 to number 4, and then go into executive session, and then come back and do number 4. Does that make sense? So we'll do we just did the St. Mary, we'll do the Leavenworth County Historical Society, the Guidance Center, then we'll break for executive session, and then come back and have the RHID discussion.
Okay.
So can I vote?
I so move that change in the agenda.
Second.
All right. So it's motion made and second. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengler.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Okay, so next up, we'll continue on the agenda with the Leavenworth County Historical Society. Denise, are you coming up, or?
Yes, 4:30.
All
I think
three,
they're all
three,
coming.
okay, come on up. So you're wearing 2 hats tonight, sort of. Yeah. Okay. So when you talk, you'll just need to move the mic to you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Good evening,
Welcome.
everyone.
Good evening.
Mayor, city manager, and members of the city commission, thank you for letting us come tonight. I'm Carol Ayers, and we are here on behalf of the Leavenworth County Historical Society. We wanted to speak with you tonight about the Spirit of the Buffalo Community Art Project and kind of update you on where we are and how far we've gone. So to give you a little history, in May of '24, the LCHS submitted, and we were one of only 14 out of 43 applicants to receive a $16,000 60/40 match grant from the Kansas Tourism for this project. The buffalo are sculptured from metal. They stand 4 feet tall and are 5 feet long. Local artists have been commissioned to provide original design and painting of the statues. And it features a fusion of rustic metal sculpture and vibrant themed art. And we do have some pictures over there. I don't know if you've looked at them, but I went out to the display, and believe me, they are vibrant themed art. They're very, very dramatic. So these powerful structures will offer a significant historic and cultural attraction. There are no other buffalo herds in the Midwest offering such an artistic theme, so these really are one of a kind. One added component that's very good is a digital application that allows learners to download onto their phones historic and cultural narratives of the Kansas Plains natives and the characteristics of the buffalo. We believe that this project will serve as a long-term tourist attraction for Leavenworth City and County. And now I want to introduce Tom Wallestad, our professor with the University of St. Mary, who is a statue sponsor. Tom?
Yes, well, the university sponsored one of our statues, and I was working with the Historical Society and also with the members from school that had brought on this buffalo and said, can we get our students to design some buffalo ideas and propose something? And then, so I had my sculpture class get together. I broke them up into teams of 5, and so Caroline Griffin is one of these members here, and I don't know if we've got anybody else from our class here. Nope, not yet. But Caroline led a team that we accepted her proposal for what we would do for this sculpture. So what's not on the board up here, I've got an example right here.
Okay.
They're playing with like the idea of like the history of like license plates throughout Kansas, and they did a lot of research on that, and then how to tie it
Yeah.
to the local community and the sisters. So, yeah.
Creative idea.
Very unique.
Kansans love their license plates.
Yet another mode of transportation. I
Yes.
wouldn't want to ride a buffalo, though.
That looks great.
It's lovely.
So.
So,
So we are working on this currently. It is over at the university. They've been preparing it to with primer, and then we're going to start to transfer the image over and try and get that accomplished the rest of the semester.
A lot of detail,
So-
that's cool.
So this one is on the next batch?
It's
Or the next
actually
herd?
in the first
Herd?
10.
Okay.
The first herd. And so 9, I'll share with you where those are going. But his, the students' sculpture, they're going to have on campus. So they'll be deciding what location.
Oh, fun.
Which is very exciting. And we've been proud to partner with you. Tom also was one of our judges along with Alan Collins and then Laura Elkins from the Historical Society. They had a very tough position there because there was a lot of art to be selected. And so now the second series of Call to Artists is in place right now with a cutoff of next week.
You want to move the mic over to you?
So is now a good time to brag that our own Lindsay
Yes,
Batter
please.
is actually designed
Wilson Clark mural.
is the Wilson and Clark mural on the
Lewis,
Buffalo, and
yeah.
it's
Not Wilson.
it's amazing.
And that design was selected by Suburban Restaurant. They're going to
Yes,
have it
they, like,
in their
fought for it,
backpack.
yeah.
They did. We had people fighting over that
Yeah.
design.
Well, that's cool. Thank you.
So as we mentioned, the first 9 have been completed. They're ready to be installed. Hopefully, after this storm that comes in, Home Depot, who we also received a grant from, will be pouring concrete pads for the hoofs to stabilize them and give them some more weight. So with the concrete and the statues themselves, they'll be about 125 pounds. The art themes, going back to the artist, the art themes were 3, and it was Historic Leavenworth, the State of Kansas, and the Old West. And I can leave this here for you all to see the designs and who the artists are. I can pick that up tomorrow, just so after your meeting, you might want to really check that out. They're amazing. Lots of talent in this community. Okay, so I'll just briefly talk about our sponsors and then the locations. Our first sponsor, and these are Leavenworth locations, was the Kansas Country Store. Don Brown walked into his office, introduced the program to him, and walked out, and he said, I want to be a sponsor. I mean, it was.
So it'll be right there
It'll be
downtown.
right outside of their entrance. JF Denny, Mark and Becky, they have sponsored a buffalo, and they graciously allowed us to put that at 3rd and Delaware on the corner where Home 2 Suites is, because we really wanted it downtown to attract visitors to our downtown businesses. Dr. and Mrs. Hunt sponsored a buffalo, and that will be located at Heartland Dental. Mark and Michelle, owners of Culver's on Eisenhower, they will have one there. And as I mentioned, the Suburban Restaurant, and then we will have one at the Carroll Mansion Museum, sponsored by Midwest Horizons Marketing. Main Street is sponsoring one, and that will be adjacent, where their beautiful mural is. It's going to be in the parking lot. There's a little grassy area that's been approved. And then University of St. Mary. And then out of Leavenworth, Tonganoxie Historical Society will have a buffalo, and that's sponsored by the Elkins family. And then Lansing City Hall will have a statue, and that was Everett Ward's design, which is the locomotives. And then he also, as you'll see, on his design, which was really unique because he really knows a lot of the history of the railroads here. He calls it the fallen flags, and that was all the railroad companies that were here in historic Leavenworth that are no longer
Yeah, their logos, all their
here.
logos.
All the logos, amazing. And each sponsor we see this as a long-term project. The sponsors have committed to 5 years. And then after the 5 years, while they're on display out on their sites, then they have the option to renew their sponsorship. And if they need refreshing any paint, we'll pick them up. Just if there's wear and tear, we will bring them back. We will get back with the artist and go from there. There will be maps available online once they're installed, so visitors and locals alike can see where they're at and go visit them. And I hope within a month, the QR code or the code for the learning feature will be on the signs at each location. And then our goal is to have printed maps that we'll distribute to the CVB for the visitor center and to local hotels. For the second herd, I ordered 12 more statues due to the demand and the, just the great support from this community. I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 already sponsored. And those
Any of
will be
those
delivered the first week. The manufacturer in New Mexico plans to have those here the first week of May, and then they'll go, just like the first process, they have to be delivered to a site that's enclosed and protected. Then they're
Primed.
primed. And then they get all delivered to the artist, and then the artists have a month, and then we go pick them back up, and then we put a clear coating on them, so it's a process.
So do you have 12 more locations?
These are the
Yes.
ones that are Exchange Bank downtown,
Oh, good.
St. John Hospital. Ken and Carly, owners of Tenpenny, have actually sponsored 2. One will be across from the restaurant, one will be on Metropolitan
And Broadway.
and Broadway. Perfect location because we don't have any over there. So everybody going to and from the fort on that side will be able to view that. And then Brian and Gina from Z&M Vineyards, they've sponsored one. And then we had 2 private families that have sponsored them. So they'll be in the country on their land. They won't be in town. But we're grateful to them. Our sponsors, our community partners has been the Kansas State Tourism Office, Home Depot, Leavenworth County Arts Association, LV Arts, and the cities of Leavenworth and Lansing, Kansas. I wanted to give a special thanks to the city because they've approved 4 sites that are on city property that allowing sponsors to place them in the downtown area. And those 4 approved sites are Haymarket Square, the Main Street parking area, Tenpenny, and then Union Park. And lastly, I wanted to give a big thank you to Christy Lee from the CVB. She, from day one, when I went to go visit her, she was so supportive of this project, and she provided us with tourism stats for Kansas and a very strong letter of support that went with the application for that large grant.
Good.
And I really think that helped us get the grant, so thank you, Christy.
Yay, Christy. Thank you.
So by the fall, there will be 20 statues
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. That's awesome.
on display.
I have a question about how are you going to get people from not crawling on them or getting on standing? Is there going to be like a do not?
There's going to be a do not stand on
Or
there.
climb or-
yes,
okay.
And there is going to be a message that we're not responsible.
Okay.
But I think insurance is important. We can, as a nonprofit, afford the insurance. The city of Lansing added the statues to their additional insurance. So
Okay.
I think it worries me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worries me a little bit too. Just because the main
The main is metal.
is metal, yeah.
Curled metal. And the whole body is, but the main
Yeah.
is really,
Right. Oh, I know
Edgy.
one sponsor that I didn't include because that was just agreed to last week. And that is Mr. Ray Rivera, Leavenworth Hotel, the new owner
yeah.
of the
Oh,
Leavenworth
okay.
Hotel.
okay.
So
Sorry, I missed him.
there'll be another one downtown.
There'll be another one downtown.
I think it'll be a good asset to the downtown.
I do too.
Have we looked into that for the city, like the city of Lansing added to their insurance?
Sorry. Tell you what, I will
So the city of Leavenworth has been working with the Historical Society on this project for probably the last year now. And we actually have an MOU put together with some simple terms about making sure those are maintained, and they talk to that. We worked together on finding the right sites, where could we put that it wasn't blocking a sidewalk, didn't have any stormwater or electrical underneath. And as part of that MOU, we had initially requested that they covered on the insurance, and they came back and talked about how cost prohibitive that was. So we removed that term and recommended that if they're able to, they do that, but we didn't require it. We talked to the city clerk's office who handles our insurance. That was also the point when I think we had a 40% increase in our city insurance policy. So we were incredibly hesitant to add anything else that might impact our costs, but we certainly had that discussion with them.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for the Leavenworth County Historical Society?
No, it's been a fun project,
Yeah.
and glad to be part of it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Just to see it now.
Me too.
They're
I'll be
beautiful.
in touch with all of you
We've been hearing about
as
them.
soon
We wanna
as
see 'em.
one is up.
And when they drop them off at our houses and they roll the thing back on the truck, it's like a herd to sit right there. Take one out and move on.
And we'll have an unveiling. I talked to Jen at the chamber, and they want to participate with that. I'm sure
Good.
Main Street will, and we'll
Oh, wow.
invite you
Yeah.
all.
That'd be
So you can
great.
have a ribbon cutting for each one? Or?
I'm not sure if
Each
we're
one.
we're gonna have a sheet.
Yeah, oh, like, ta-da! I love that. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
hard
guys.
work. I'm excited.
Thank you, Carol.
All right. Next up is the report from the Guidance Center. Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, how are you?
Yeah, whoever's running the computer.
We certainly appreciate everybody's time tonight. Nice opportunity to come and share some news about the Guidance Center and what kind of work has been done. So, it sounds like you all have a PowerPoint that was provided. Which this is helpful. Mine's a little bit different, so, yeah. Well, my name is Stevie Durkin. I am the relatively new CEO of the Guidance Center. It seems like yesterday when Dr. Lawrence kind of came in and mentioned that I was going to be rejoining the Guidance Center team. And so I did that in August. And it has been an absolute pleasure to be back to the Guidance Center. So as Sister Diane was talking about master's level social workers, that's how my experience with the Guidance Center started. I was in a master's program at the University of Kansas. I was placed at the Guidance Center as a practicum student, which is a pretty cool kind of full circle experience to come back in this new role. So, but like I said, we appreciate your time. Just wanted to provide some data points, and then certainly open to hearing any data points in the future that you all would like to hear from the Guidance Center, okay? So I'll get to that here in a little bit. It's kind of how we are kind of focused in on kind of pinpointing some data points and things like that for the future. But certainly just kind of wanted to provide a high overview of what has kind of transpired since 2023 compared to 2024. So a lot of these I feel like are pretty impressive numbers. Remind you, I came in August. Has very little, if nothing, to do with me. It's a tremendous group of people that are dedicated to this community, obviously Atchison County and Jefferson County that makes up our catchment area. So it's an absolute honor to be able to kind of come and brag on our team a little bit. So I will also say I apologize if this is some information that you all had before. I know Dr. Warrens has come, Keith Rickard has come, and have really talked about our transition from while we're still a community mental health center, we have transitioned to a certified community behavioral health clinic. So we're both of those things now. There's a lot that goes into that. There was a ton of work that this team did to get ready for this transition, but this is really a major shift in mental health throughout the state of Kansas. And it's an exciting one. So this slide is really just a graphic to kind of show some of the things that have been added to our repertoire of services and areas of focus as we have entered into this program. So the CCBHC program, I won't bore you with all the details of it, is a federal program, okay, through SAMHSA. But the state of Kansas is able to implement their own version of the CCBHC program through the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Services, okay? So that is somebody that's always overseeing the Community Mental Health Center program. And so this is an exciting shift throughout the state of Kansas. So some areas that I would just like to highlight real quick, and we'll get into some more details in the next slide. Training. We are an organization that historically has always really focused in on how do we train our clinicians, how do we train our staff in various positions to make sure that they're supported in evidence-based practices and in what the community is really needing. So we've made a lot of advancements there. We've identified a clinical training director and really are excited to offer, kind of monthly training sessions for our staff, for community providers, that we feel like overall just lends to overall community wellness, right? We want to increase the training and be able to offer that. I'll get into the Assertive Community Treatment Program. The Guidance Center has always, for as long as I'm familiar with the Guidance Center, has always provided recovery services as well. Community support services, so that's a little bit more focused in the adult kind of population. Always have had an area of that within our programming. And community-based services, which is the kids version of case management, psychosocial programs, different programs like that to help those kiddos. Crisis stabilization services is another slide that I'm going to touch on here. You all, I'm sure, are familiar with Guiding Lights. Crisis Center and the crisis services that we have within the Guidance Center. So we'll get to that. Some really cool initiatives that in the Justice Center that is completely different than what I'm familiar with at the Guidance Center. And I really appreciate the efforts that they've done there. Cognitive behavioral therapy too is just an evidence-based practice that SAMHSA is really big on, and rightfully so. So as you know, the Guidance Center serves 3 counties, Jefferson County, Atchison County, and Leavenworth County. This slide is indicative of overall a really big increase in community services. So some of those services that I just mentioned, like adult case management, children's case management, liaison services in the Justice Center, mobile crisis response, those services are reflected in this overall number, okay? So community services there, in 2023, we were sitting just over 41,000 visits. At the end of 2024, we were over 61,000 visits. Wow. And I will point out, and Beth, you correct me if I'm wrong here, that is reflective of services that we were able to bill for. So that's kind of claims data driven. What the actual number for us in total visits, including those that were not billable or we were not able to be compensated for, that's over 77,000 visits in the Guidance Center through all 3 counties. And we've got some pretty ambitious plans to continue to expand that effort. But that's just a brief slide to kind of show the advancement there. So. Transportation. So I remember when Dr. Warnes came in and I was able to kind of tag along with him and he introduced me. I remember that being part of the conversation. It was a really significant partnership between the city of Leavenworth and the Guidance Center. So we definitely wanted to reflect some growth in that program as well. So 2023, 41,352 visits, and in 2024, that increased to 45,782 visits.
Rides.
Rides, not visits, sorry. Rides, which is a significant growth, but we continue to get asked, what other ways do we offer transportation? So addressing some of those needs within the county, all 3 counties, transportation is a constant theme, so we appreciate your partnership in that. The outcomes to get people to treatment makes it easier to access, right? And that's what mental health and a lot of different areas of healthcare need to be proactive in, making ourselves more accessible so that the people can get the care that they need.
When you say non-ambulatory, what's that mean for you?
What data point did we use on that, Bess?
So non-ambulatory, so they need, they're like a assisted ride, so the
Handicap accessible.
ADA.
ADA.
So out of all those rides, only 978 didn't need, they were all handicapped? Wow, okay. So,
What? Wait a minute.
No, the other way around.
It's the other way around.
oh, okay, other way,
Yeah.
so 978 of them,
We're non-ambulatory.
okay, got it, sorry.
Yeah.
Because
That
the
was in
majority, and we
2023,
need to
2024,
get the
slight
stats on
increase
that, but majority of people go to and from work is what we've heard.
Yeah.
But we're still looking for stats on that,
Yeah.
Stats on Right Elby.
yeah,
Okay.
to and from work.
So they're using it for work.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and other things, yeah.
In my mind, I think doctor's appointment or Walmart, but yeah, it's
Work.
work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank
Yeah,
you.
Lots of needs for transportation, that's for sure. So appreciate those questions and the recommendation for data points. We'll
Thank
certainly look into that. Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely. So on the adult services program, so that encompasses a lot of different areas of adult services. So you can see that kind of in this pie chart. A few that I wanted to point out in this presentation is the growth in assertive community treatment, which is really a very active team that works to identify the most high needs individuals, adults, in Leavenworth County, Atchison County, Jefferson County, that experience maybe substance use disorders or mental health needs that are really hard to engage in traditional outpatient care, right? So these are individuals, this team works with individuals that may be at the interfaith shelter, could be homeless, they could be engaging them in treatment under a bridge. I mean, wherever these individuals are, this team is tasked with going and locating them and trying to figure out ways that we can get them engaged in traditional services. So it's a kind of an intermediary while we work to support those individuals that are just very high needs. Individual placement and support programs, sorry, I'm going to point out, that program jumped by 65% last year. So really, this team is focused in on engaging as many as they can, but with the size of the team, we can only get to so many individuals. So they are, I believe, around about 50 individuals on that caseload right now, and a full team supporting those individuals in the community. Individual placement and support, this is really a growing program as well. When I came into the organization just in August, I knew that we had a wait list for this program. And that team, by hiring additional members to support this program, has worked to identify employment placement or educational placement for individuals that have been identified within our internal system that may need extra support. So that program has grown from 7 to 64 individuals, and we are starting to see more of an expansion into Jefferson County and Atchison County. So we've identified people and helped place them with employment opportunities here in Leavenworth, could be over in Missouri, wherever we can find positions that they qualify for and that they have interest in. So this is another big program pushed by the CCBHC program. So throughout the state of Kansas, we should see continued growth in this respect. Crisis services, again, both emergency services grew by 81%, and Crisis Stabilization Center 71%. A lot of that is really reflective of finally hiring enough people to support those programs. I would love to tell you that we've hired enough staff. That is not the case. So to hear that there's a master's level, I'm a social worker, so I'm a little bit biased, but there's a local program here, even if they're students from across the country. I love to see investment in these kind of programs because they're very well trained in addressing a whole gamut of things that impact overall health in a community. That's a great opportunity here locally.
Can they do internships with you too?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep, that's how I started. So I think it's a really cool path. I'm a big believer in community mental health. I really feel like it gives you a broader view of what community health is really about. It's as broad as you want to make it. There's a lot of things that go into that. But yeah, we definitely have that. We've got partnerships with a lot of local universities in the state.
Where are your referrals coming from? I know you mentioned, we said things like under the bridge, but is that from the police department? Because that's a lot of people.
So it could be a combination of things. Those are certainly possibilities there. So it could be ER visits, it could be interactions that we have with our mobile crisis team, or our co-responder, our co-responder helping identify people that have come and made it into the guidance center that we just kind of see fall off. And there's some claims data and some state data that we access to identify those individuals. So ultimately, we see a lot of psychiatric hospitalizations with these individuals. And so when they go in and they discharge back to the community, there's a little bit, and we're gonna further our efforts with this hospital liaison work, but that's an element too. That's a path that we identify individuals as well.
And then the individual placement support, is that just for jobs? Or do you
So
support them with other
jobs,
things,
educational
housing?
placement, housing, there's a part of our program now that also addresses housing too.
Okay.
Yeah,
So anything that they individually need and support, you will find them a place, a home,
we'll
a
work
landing
to,
place,
yeah,
okay.
we will work to, yep,
Okay,
yep, absolutely.
thank you.
In the assertive treatment, are your folks safe?
That's a good question. I appreciate you asking that question. That's a hard job. It's a hard job. So we never want our staff to go into a situation where they feel unsafe. So really these partnerships with local police department, local sheriff's department, those are vital. And they are big supporters from what I've gathered in all my conversations, big supporters of what we're doing at the Guidance Center. But I appreciate you asking that question because that's a reality. But we want to make sure that our staff are safe, but we want to engage these people that need our support in any way we can. And these are really the most probably externally facing kind of efforts to make that stuff happen. So
They're always paired up, there's never one person goes, right?
there can be,
Yeah.
there can be. So again, we need to continue our efforts to add to our team. But if anybody within our staff does not feel safe, we're never gonna ask them to go alone. Never gonna go alone. Typically, what you would probably see is if they do go alone, it's because they're familiar with the
Whoever it
family
is,
or that
yeah.
individual, already have that therapeutic rapport kind of established. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next slide is youth services. So I'm not sure if you all are aware of the school-based clinicians. Okay, so I won't keep you on those points. But again, youth services grew by more than 50%. I'm a big believer in these school-based programs. Like case managers for years and years have done a tremendous job of just going where the kiddos are, right? Like being there, making it easier to access care. And through these partnerships with these school districts, having a licensed clinical therapist or master's level therapist in the school reduces a lot of barriers that families experience. It could be transportation. It could be a parent that doesn't have a job that offers PTO, whatever, or the ability to flex their schedule or time off. And so we want to be more accessible to those that need us. And this has proven to be a very beneficial program. We're seeing a lot of growth in this in Jefferson County as well, but Leavenworth has really allowed us to establish and grow this program pretty significantly. So,
I think Leavenworth was the original
yeah,
program.
Yeah,
Because
it was.
of our amazing teachers and
Yep.
people
Yeah,
saw
and
that there was
kudos
need.
to the school districts. I mean, it's a tremendous leap of faith to allow our staff to come in, and our staff have done a good job of trying to integrate into the school system, but they're different systems, right? I mean, there are barriers that just naturally kind of occur there, but building those relationships with those districts, and it sounds like has been very, very positive. And relatively easy to do. We want those teachers to be able to do what they're best at and support the school districts and whatever resources we can offer. And then again, kids get the care that they need.
What grades?
So we are predominantly middle school and high school from what I believe, but I think that we've got some,
Middle school.
yeah, we typically see more engagement. That's
Yep.
just anecdotal, so I will label it that. But middle school and high school, we typically see a little bit more engagement. But elementary school kiddos, if they're able to engage in the therapeutic process, certainly can. Yeah, and Fort Leavenworth too, yeah, absolutely. So crisis services is the next slide. So this is really a growing program. And what we've seen is the need to better educate our communities that we serve. So Guiding Lights, for example, serves all of Northeast Kansas, Leavenworth, Jefferson, Atchison County, Nemaha, Brown, Doniphan, and Jackson. So we're not seeing as much engagement from those communities, and we need to get out and make sure that they're aware of this service here. So we're also seeing some data points here about the emergency room. So we're beginning to collect a lot more data points so that we can better assess where we need to focus our efforts. But I will say broad stroke, we need to educate other communities more on this availability too.
And how many beds do you have?
So it's 12. 12, yep. So efforts to engage or offer more programming when someone is at Guiding Lights, Chloe Grabansky has just come in as our crisis director, and she's got a lot of really great ideas, and we look forward to seeing that grow under her leadership.
I'm so glad we have that now. It was
Yeah.
Absolutely.
such a desert before.
Yeah, it's a vital. So the co-responder model here, so I won't go through each data point. I know you all got a lot on the agenda tonight. The co-responder model, Andrea Kessler has done a tremendous job working with the local police department. Really, we're trying to divert things that aren't necessarily, need to be addressed by police. They're tremendous at what they do, but if we can identify a mental health need and we can address that, that's obviously what we want to do. So this could turn into ER diversions, jail diversions, different things like that. So this is another program that I was excited to see when I came into the Guidance Center. Andrea has done a tremendous job, and we appreciate Chief Kitchens and his partnership and his staff's partnership in this program. So, jail liaison, so over at the Sheriff's Department, again, appreciate the partnership with Sheriff Dedeke. Jail liaison, working with those that are incarcerated to identify what needs may be going unaddressed. So needs for mental health treatment, substance use treatment, whatever that may be, having this individual in there, have those conversations, learn more about things that may be impacting these individuals. That's what we want to do. We want to create, another opening for treatment, right? So that's been another great program for us. So just real briefly in closing, the Guidance Center really is looking forward to engaging in the strategic planning process. Last strategic plan was 2017, which would have ran to 2020. We all know what happened in 2020, and then we worked on a transition to the CCDHC model. So we are really looking forward to engaging in the strategic planning process, and part of that, what I want to see happen is getting community feedback and engagement. We want to learn from our community what areas of need to be addressed and how we can collaboratively work to address those together. We just recently hired a chief information officer so we can refine even further the data that we collect and how we collect that. Again, I think that really influences all aspects of healthcare and healthcare delivery, as we need to be very agile in how we use data. Expansion of staff and services, again, there's going to be some expansion here in Leavenworth. Some things that will be coming down the pipeline here relatively soon. But we really want to see some of these programs begin to go out further in greater capacity in Atchison County and Jefferson County. Leavenworth typically is where these services have started. And so then they kind of spread out into the other communities. But again, we will see continued expansion here in Leavenworth County too. We anticipate a need for about 70 more individuals in various positions within the Guidance Center in all three counties. I remember last time, Commissioner Wilson, that you asked, what are some ways that the city, and I'm not putting this on the city at all, I'm just gonna tell you, one of our struggles right now is space.
Yeah.
It is really space, like, we are lucky to have the facility that we have, it's a great building. We're maxed out, in that building, so we're really looking at how we can accommodate even more individuals into the workforce at the Guidance Center. But it's a good problem to have. It's something that we're gonna continue to work on. So y'all have my contact information. If anybody's got any ideas, certainly open to hearing that.
Have you identified any specific locations?
We've looked around. We've looked around at a couple. Some that would just it'd take the money to do it. But I think there are certainly some good options to be able to do that. So it goes back to strategic planning.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Who are we going to place in these locations, and how are we going to go about addressing that funding need? So,
Can you grow where you're at your current campus?
we can.
Yeah.
We
Get
can.
some space back there.
Yeah,
Get some space back
everybody
there.
likes their own office, and
Yeah.
I get it, absolutely. We are, quickly coming into a reality where that's not probably gonna be possible for as many people as we would like to be able to provide that to.
Right.
But yeah, we've got some pretty decent sized office that we'll have to, kind of cut up a little bit.
Yeah.
And
You
then,
can always add on to the back.
I don't know that we've had that conversation yet, but yeah,
Be a
we're
big cost.
open to a lot of ideas, so I look forward to the strategic planning process and hearing some of those things, so. But again, we appreciate your support, I appreciate you all, welcoming us and kind of hearing some of these things, but certainly am open to any feedback that you want us to be aware of, any data points that you feel like would be helpful in the future, in addition to the Ride LV stuff. So whether that's now or later, always open to hear that feedback.
Well, I know, I appreciate the partnership, especially with the police and
Yes.
the Ride LV and just being transparent, and I know we've met, and I appreciate that. And thank you for what you do, because I know it's not easy.
No, our staff are great, they work incredibly hard, and you're right, I mean, there's a lot of need out there, and they work incredibly hard to do it. So again, it's an honor to be able to represent them.
Thank you.
I
Any other
appreciate
questions?
you. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Well, thank
all
you.
very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Great
All
presentation.
right. So at this time, I'm going to make a motion to move the city commission, that the city commission recess into executive session for a period of 20 minutes for the purpose of discussing a legal no.
Wait, we need to recess the study session and we'll have a motion to open the special meeting.
Oh,
So first
do
we
that.
just,
recess.
we don't have to motion to recess, but we just need to state that we're recessing the,
Oh, we don't have to, I don't have to read this motion?
you will,
You will, but not yet.
just not quite.
Oh. Okay,
Need to recess the session.
Yeah.
Two separately called meetings, so there's a study
Got
session
it,
and a
okay.
special meeting.
so I need a
you're
motion to
Temporarily
recess the
recess.
current,
Or you're just,
No,
you just
you
announce.
recess.
You just say it,
Recessing.
we're recessing the study session.
And
all right, we're recessing the study session. Let's go.
moving into the special,
Okay, we're moving into the special meeting.
yeah, which has been called for the purposes of holding an attorney-client privilege conversation regarding zoning matters. And now,
What you said. Okay,
So now we need a motion to open the
Okay,
special
so
meeting.
I move.
this
we
is
open.
what this is, right? That I have to
she
read?
has
to Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
I
so
move
you're
that
one
we
more.
open the special meeting.
Okay, so
I second.
second. Okay, now we can begin voting, and I'll start with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Okay, so now we are,
now you can have your motion.
okay, I'm learning. 3 months in and I'm learning.
And we're all
All right.
learning that one.
Now, yeah, you're up, We've never had this before. All right, so now I'm going to make a motion to move the city commission recess into executive session for a period of 20 minutes for the purpose of discussing a legal matter with the city attorney under the justification for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, which is KSA 75-4319B2. The city commission, the city manager, and the city attorney will be present. The open meeting will resume in the city commission chambers at
7-Eleven.
7:11 PM.
Second.
Second, all right. Motion's been made, second. Start begin voting with Commissioner Hengel.
Aye.
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 All right. Let's go. Do I gavel out?
No.
No, okay, because we're still.
You will gavel back in.
I'll give it.
Yeah, just in the conference room.
Did you need something? I'm sorry.
No, I
That was easily easy. Thanks for holding my hand through that.
Yeah, sorry, it's a little clunky. Yeah, we don't do this one too often. Poor kid.
Why did they have to be moved around?
What was the big hill, was that a St. Mary thing?
I have no idea. I think it was KCTV5? It was one of the news stations. I don't know if they thought they would see more of something.
My guess would be they think something unfortunate was on the agenda, but we communicated out that it's not, so.
Maybe they're
I
just
don't know.
getting
People
some
enter-
clips
I
of
don't know.
us in here, and then they're gonna say, oh, the city had an executive session.
Yeah, I had an executive session about it. How they're running a story on the.
It's unusual, they don't tell us why they're here,
Yeah.
but we don't know. We
Maybe they wanted to hear about RHID.
Right? They were like, oh, the Buffalo Project, yay! Yeah, that's totally why they're here, yeah.
Well, they decided to leave.
Sounds like a
I think you're right on the course of it. Yeah, I heard about that, like, what, late last week?
I mean, we announced when they pulled their stuff, we
Is this?
So does that mean
So
there's
that's the
one
one that's going to
not
be like
going back,
their
or-
license plate design thing.
I don't know.
Oh, so this is.
Yeah, that's the one,
Or-
yeah, that's the one that
At
they're.
this time.
Yeah.
And then they're figuring
That
out their
their stuff
design.
was.
Kind of crazy. It's almost like.
That's why you need press release.
This would be fun to go track
Under
things
the
down.
Hey, Miller, city manager, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, can we help you out with something at all?
You
We didn't know you all were coming, so.
I was just here to see, if there's any action taken at a special session, assuming that has to do with core civic and what's going on there. I toured the facility a few weeks back, and they pretty much asserted that
Very excited.
we can
Is
operate
your
this
power
facility.
plant loaded or?
It's ready. All
All
five slots.
Here.
Since then, they've changed their mind about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great that
messy.
you talked to them, to ask about their plans.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
I have.
because they're in the best spot to be able to talk about that.
But why did
All we really
move
know
that
is
one
people
ahead?
their special use permit.
Was it just
I think it's.
Yeah, he charges us.
Yeah, I got a call from the mayor,
You know,
I don't.
all three of those. Well, it's depending on how much they talk.
Yeah.
Doing it without city approval.
So it's, I don't know, if I obviously so is this similar?
I was thinking more people might show up.
So actually, that was the question I had for you related to this is,
This is normally a study session, so it's more
like
informational.
like your city commission to approve like a,
That's kind of why you're
like
seeing
the
this, the
rezoning
agenda
for
item
RJ?
that are regular
And are those the
meetings. We
same?
have those, the second and fourth Tuesdays.
It was like a company, and it was, I mean, it was large numbers, kind of like the one at here, so it was
I
like all
don't know
locked.
if let's.
It's not unusual for them to go into
It came to
executive.
us.
Is this, I mean, it was similar in like some numbers, so I do remember sitting here, like, those feel like very large, I mean, like, a lot of lots.
I'm not sure if they are the same one.
Okay.
Well, I will.
But it was like similar in terms of like, we're a firm doing the,
So
Well,
we need to reach out to the
and
city
so the,
manager, Scott Peterson, he's the.
The housing study that
for myself, I'm the city
It does, which
manager.
was like 10 pages, on a very, very preliminary basis.
Mhm.
That was actually done by the same organization that did Lansing,
okay.
but Lansing's was like 60 pages.
What you talking, are you
Because
over
they
in
actually
Kansas
went
City
into
area then?
Well, I'm living in
different
Leavenworth, working
guidelines and
Oh, okay.
things like
house,
that.
it's a big
And
guy.
ours is just.
Oh, that's a whole other
It is.
adventure.
Have this
I have a whole
conversation,
day
which
there.
we are.
Yeah.
Yay, I'm so glad.
Right.
Really, the movement. break-
Yeah, actually, remember, let me give you, I'm gonna email you Bess's.
I have way more comments on that, but that's okay.
Okay, just as a point of
That's how I
contact.
understood it.
Yes, Bess was the, so Steve is the CEO, and then, I don't really know what, she's the program development director, but she's honestly who I've been
I
communicating
think
with
it's
this entire
just
time.
I
Found somebody somewhere who would
That's gonna make it look different.
And I thought, that sounds like the
They
person
have
who
a-
would use one.
Yeah, I mean, she may,
So that's maybe.
the upside is that she may not be the person meeting, but at least
Yeah.
she responds.
She'll-
Like, she's very good at communicating, I mean,
Even one of the.
she emailed me about the state of the city, and she's like, who do I respond to? I'm like, I don't honestly know. And I was like, here, try these two, and she's like, perfect. So I was like, well, at least you respond, so that's like step number one.
So almost 4 years. I came from the city of Lawrence, so I'm familiar with that. I was there for 3 years. So yeah, I got my master's degree. I haven't spent as much time in Wichita though. Only just visiting and seeing some of the major sites.
It's, yeah, some of the illustrious major sites in Wichita. I was trying to explore Lawrence, I feel like since I moved to December, it's been frozen solid.
Okay.
It's finally
Right.
time to explore.
I mean, I would just look at the Parks and Rec page. Maybe a little bit of their social media and
Well, I don't know
events.
if they've turned,
What's
they may
going
not
on
turn
in
the
the
stream
Park
on,
Nature
but I
Center,
do know they just
also
need
the Parks and Rec.
the sound,
and
so,
how
because
they
I think I've seen also that before.
Arts.
Like, no one's like listening to us, right? Which is kind of like, you can see you just because it's not returning off the
I
stream.
do that, and Explore Lawrence, they're the visitors bureau down there, so.
Appreciate the recommendation.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, I worked on a lot of those learning events, so. We don't quite have something like that here, where we shut down the downtown and bring in some cool band, but we do that at our camp Leavenworth, in September, and so have a band that hasn't been released yet. A 90s band, don't say it, so that'll be pretty exciting. We had Melissa Etheridge, she's a native to Leavenworth, Grammy winner, international artist. She was here in 2021 and did Camp Leavenworth, we had 10,000 people, so hopefully we can do something like that as well. But 2,000 people in Lawrence is like a typical Friday event, so a little different.
It's an interesting city. I like walking your main street. When I was out here 2 weeks ago, it's really interesting to have a community kind of built around that, and to see all the other things that people take the jails.
Sure. I mean, I'm not from Kansas, so that was the first thing I heard of when I knew we were gonna come here to Leavenworth with the military. It's been really nice though to get to see what else is here, but we don't have sweet. Right, so the federal penitentiary, Fort Leavenworth, and Vietnam.
Oh, I should be waiting here for a few days.
So the good news is.
Seriously.
Like, I can't wait to go on a conference.
Yes, there.
We don't have a lot of-
We'll be gone Friday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Where's the conference at?
Denver.
Yes.
Yeah. Next week, so a week from.
I grew up
Friday.
here, it's just like.
You forget about it when
But
I'm here.
you Michelle are probably gone. There's gonna be nobody to
Well, you're
answer.
not from here though.
What's that?
But
You're not from
I'll have
here.
my stuff.
Well, I'll say,
I'll have my laptop.
I know when I was like, I'm not able to respond right away, but I'm like, I will always, like, I would always like dedicate some time at the end of like end of each day to let me do work stuff.
I'll tell you, the last conversations of the day are always just like, yeah.
Yeah, usually one's like.
I know, do my actual work.
Right, like, let me do my work, so that I can go. Go out to dinner and go get.
Like if you're a nervous speaker, request your session be at the end of the day.
Right?
As far as like, it's interesting to see Jennifer Rand.
Julie's gonna be there, so I'm excited to meet up with Julie.
I'm gonna touch my face. We're in a good talk, so like generally we take the person. What have you done today? Well, you just go up and just be like, we were told that there shouldn't be any hate so much. Soldiers.
That's always
Yeah.
How could you? You're just living your life over there.
Yeah, the ladies don't have any.
But they're really the academic center of the Army, and we're told that that should really stay in place. They'll probably have some impact to the civilian population and a lot of civilian support, so.
But since it is so close, I
Waiting to learn more.
Where is it at?
Numbers that have.
Oh, that's never said that, of course you did.
Just the nature of how some of those programs are managed for national events.
Be nice, yeah.
May not see a lot of.
Denver's a nice easy flight.
It's
always
okay.
better.
You know, the medical folks are generally protected.
they
so
just had
want
an
something
incident.
to higher frequency.
I did see that, yeah. I mean, I flew
Usually
safely
those other management, administrative.
to Miami, and then to St. Croix, and then to Charlotte, and then back here.
That's a lot.
I think right now, we're doing fairly well, fairly stable.
No, overall,
Good news for us.
It's good to hear.
yeah, probably.
From here to.
Yeah, like round trip, probably about 10 hours.
Oh, round trip? So from like here to.
Like here to theirs, so like here to Miami is like 2.5.
I like it, like.
And then it's another like 2.5 there.
Stay good.
And then we flew back to
It's a-
Charlotte, so it was a longer flight back. It was like 4 hours, almost 4 hours to Charlotte.
Interesting.
So you
And
sat there a lot of
then
meetings while waiting?
like
Oh, yeah.
2 hours
Stop.
home last night.
I did
It's not horrid,
realize,
I
you know,
mean.
Like he
Like
did the,
some
sort
flights.
of the weak mayor and council system.
Like our flight to London was the probably, well, the flight home from London was the worst when we did that. Cause we, on the way there, we left at
He'll
night.
set the agenda and they'll argue
Left
about
in
it.
the middle of the day on Saturday and like flew to Philadelphia and then had like a 10 o'clock flight to London. So we landed at like 9 in the morning, so I was like, perfect, like no jet lag because you're sleeping on the flight and it's morning time so your body adjusts better. The flight back was at noon.
Dynamic
And it was the
differently,
longest
so
12 hours of
you
flight.
sit through our.
I was just like, I will jump out of this plane. I just want out of here.
I feel like
Well, the Lawrence has a lot
and it was
more,
an evening flight on the way there.
cast characters.
And honestly, I slept through like the whole friggin' thing. I didn't take any like
Yeah.
pictures or anything, I just slept through the whole thing.
I wish that was the case, that not having a dude sitting next to me.
Yes,
Like,
always.
it was
So
drinking
we
too
were never
much,
sort
and
of
he kept like
always
slamming into his
Lawrence.
like airplane seat,
There were folks
and then he kept like
almost
trying to like
professionally
lean up, I'm
full-time,
like, look, I'm not
just
stuck in the middle,
watched,
like,
read
let's just.
agendas,
like,
read the packet, had comments,
Yeah.
feedback.
Oh, it'd be
And you're like,
interesting.
yeah, it's the worst. So I told my husband, I was like,
That's
if we
dedication, that's
ever,
hobby, really.
well, we're going international and, well, long, like Europe international in November, but I told him, I was like, can we like price out? Like,
I mean, it's public comment, so
I
it's
was like, just
something
a little more space, like, 'cause, I mean, this guy was like up in there, like, you could just smell every time he goes to the bottle, like, well, you're, and I was like, what are you drinking?
Like that much. I don't like it, I used to.
I don't think I've ever had, yeah, like, usually I was like, I'll take a ginger ale, and I was like, and I was like, no, I would just take the can, like, they're just like, like, can I have it?
It's about
Oh
property
my gosh,
tax.
when we go to Europe for the fall, I'm like,
As we start to work in the budget, that'll naturally happen, I mean, you know, you time frame we're all in.
well, like,
We're already having.
yes, 100%, because like, we walked in and I was like,
We do have, right, I don't think,
what is this?
I don't think like that's the.
I was all like, do I want to spend the money?
That was like, that's every Tuesday. Last year, 2 years ago, it's been 2 years now. And one of my friends was like, oh, you need to.
We have some partners in crime on
You have a
property
driver come
taxes,
pick you
school
up at the
districts,
airport,
city,
personal driver.
counties,
I
states,
don't know if I want to
but
spend
they
money
still
on it.
keep their stuff.
I'll just try it.
Yeah,
They come, take your bag, drive you exactly where you need to go, you don't have to stand out there, you can Uber.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that, we've been, to Mexico a couple times, like Cancun area, and we'll pay for like a private transfer to the resort, and it's just like glorious.
Yeah.
Cause like everyone's like, can you ride? I'm like, I got it.
Yeah.
Don't need you.
So much.
And we don't even, like, we're too bougie to do, like, we're like, no, we don't wanna share. We're like, we could do the share, it's cheaper. Like, no, I don't wanna hang out with other people. I was like, I want you to drive me to my resort and that's it. Like, I don't wanna stop anybody else's. It's like some of those, like, I think it's Ishkarat, we've looked at Ishkarat a few times. It's like, it's like the big, like, almost like the version of, I think, like their version of Disney.
Oh.
It's much more like,
It's actually maintained semi-seriously.
like, very much more like Aztec in terms of like look aspect, like, very cool.
Yeah, there was one.
But like they
Wasn't speaking on
resorts
behalf
have
of
like
the
multiple
county,
like,
he was speaking as a county commissioner.
theme parks, but like
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all
parks where
trying
you
to
can do
figure
like,
out,
there's one that's like
okay,
all
what practical
sensory
revenue
stuff, like
sources
very
can
cool,
you do
like one
to
that's got
continue services
animals,
for
and
all
like you can
basic
swim through plays, and it's,
you know,
it's,
competing
yeah, it's
towns,
very, very cool, but like they have a
so
giant
I think we're
tour
all.
bus basically that you can take to the resort, but it stops at like all of the other
We don't have a lot of
restaurants,
options,
like,
property tax.
again, bougie over here.
Maybe an earnings.
I wanna stay at the one that's
tax.
adults only.
You for-
Because I stop at all the others, I'm like, you don't wanna do that. And then I'll just book my own transfer. I was like, but isn't it like basic things included? I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, if we go to this, I'm just gonna book my own, I don't have to wait. I was like, I don't care.
Not having.
If I didn't have kids, I would definitely.
Right. Shoot, leave your kids with grandma. Like, do it adults only, no children.
Housing.
Oh, I thought about that. But like I said, we haven't even taken any big trips in.
I've never, I mean, I went on a plane with my, I only went on a plane with my mom, and I was a Girl Scout trip when I was 13.
Really?
And she's like, oh, what did you make you on your first night? And I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, when I worked in a.
I never on a plane with my parents, like, together. Like, we avoided to get on a plane with my parents and my friends, so like, older brother got married, and they're in Detroit, or basically Detroit. That's where his wife's from.
City of like
So my husband and I were like,
people.
you guys find out, give us your flight information, and we're like, we're not flying with them.
So it kind of makes sense.
Well, because I was like, they were taking my grandma,
Yeah.
my two aunts were flying with them, so they could, like, my dad's like, yeah, we're getting that like an Escalade dinner, and I was like, and I love my parents, I'm like, I do not want to be here.
I just felt like.
Yeah, like, she will just be like, got some sandwiches, like, no, and like, I love you, Mom, but like,
The first time I flew was when I was 19 and I bought into basic
I mean, every 5 years.
The first time I flew, I was flying by myself.
shoot.
It's about 70-80%.
Flew, I'm assuming, like, Army?
Most of the national airlines.
Oh, yeah, I dubbed down that, it's like.
I
Oh
love.
my god, I love it. I try to convince, because like Ryan's an only child, so, and his parents divorced when he was like 6, so he's, I mean, his mom's been his only like travel companion, and she still loves to travel. She's 65 and still loves to travel, and like, when we first got together, like, they always plan a trip a year, so like, we've incorporated her to ours, but I'm like, you guys wanna go somewhere? Or I'll meet, like, and there's a few, well, there's been a few where I'm like, with his like working for the school district, and I have more school days off, like for holidays, and stuff. I'm like, you gotta go, girl, like for Thanksgiving, I was here, and I think my flight, I think I got like the last flight out of Kansas City at like 10 o'clock, so I did the meeting, and just like flew Palm Springs, so I was just like, or I left on a Wednesday, like, and just flew out by myself, and I was like, Like drove myself to the airport like peacefully and was like, oh, taking my own flight to like Denver, and I was like,
It's more expensive to park your vehicle there.
But it's nice that you can have one, you just have to handle it.
so we don't, so I have yet to park in the garage, because it is expensive, but we use a parking spot. And it's still, I mean, it's definitely jumped up in price since we've been using it, but it is crazy convenient. Like, it is nice to just be like, and then the best is like, I mean, you don't have that luxury because you don't live up here, but it is really nice to be like we landed at midnight last night. So I'm still rocking like 6 hours of sleep.
Honestly, it's not too bad.
And so like we literally land, walk off, and we do our best to not have to check bags. We literally walk off the plane, jump on the parking lot, go to our car, and like, we'll be home 20 minutes. Let's go. Because when we lived in China, we were like, okay, another like 45 minutes.
For a minute. We're gonna take more time.
I only need 3 of you.
I know.
Okay. You still have 2 minutes? Okay, you still have 2 minutes. Okay,
After this.
all right.
So do we say 20 or 15?
That's exactly, we said 15 or 20.
Okay, well, should I just go 20 to be safe?
Just say,
Okay.
just say 20, yeah.
Okay. And note to self, this clock and this clock are
They're
off.
not the same, we go off this
Yeah,
one.
okay,
We go off the route, yeah, the ones in.
again. It should be the same.
okay. Is there a second hand on that thing?
There's not.
It's the longest minute.
I got used to the seconds for a while.
Oh, there it is. All right, we're going to gavel back in, but we're going to make another motion as we need more time. So I'm going to make a motion to move the city commission recess into executive session for a period of another 20 minutes for the purpose of discussing a legal matter with the city attorney under the justification for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, which is KSA 75-4319B2. The city commission, the city manager, and the city attorney will be present. The open meeting will resume in the city commission chambers at
7:31.
7:31. All right, send a
Second.
second.
Yep.
All right, we'll begin voting with Commissioner Hingla.
Aye.
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 All right. Move the session.
Watching the live stream, they're probably like, why are they staring at us?
Yeah, they're like, this is odd.
Yeah, they can't believe it.
Like, that doesn't normally happen.
So it's really 7:32.
We're breaking the third wall.
When Barbara was hired, I was like, Marvin, fix the clock.
Well, so to be fair to Marvin, and I never bring it in here, so I probably need him to fix it. He did sync, we probably need to just add, if you like always bring your phone in, it's just Bluetooth your phone, like, to that, because mine does, and it will sync back up. But I never bring my phone in here. Because I told him, I was like, Marvin, that doesn't really make sense. Like, I try not to bring my phone because I'm typing. So I was like, we probably should pick somebody else, and then it would definitely match back up. It's just like there's like a 30-second difference every time.
It doesn't tell time now.
I know. Like this is our biggest
Only has
problem,
one job.
is the clock.
Attending these? If sometime interested in it. That's what we at home. No offense.
None taken. Feel the same.
You too.
You better be home too.
If I could take my minutes from my couch, I totally would.
Well, that's what I did for the Board of County Commissioners, that when I watched in my office while I ate my lunch.
Well, what is interested tonight? The RHRD. Be familiar with it? Governmental housing and stuff.
It's gonna be a riveting presentation, right, Cameron?
Mm-hmm. By the time we finally get to it, everybody's gonna be bright-eyed and ready. 7 to 8.
Gotta find a way to liven it up, right?
Take too long. Just kind of an introductory look, so. Although I do wish I was on the first half now that we're into this.
When they were like, we're gonna Jesse Judge field, no, we're not. You're like, can I object? No.
Yeah.
It was okay, when Scott told me he was moving, I was like, he just like saw the look on my face and he's like, did I just mess it up? I'm like, I'm just thinking how I'm gonna type up the minutes, 'cause that's where my mind goes.
You already called out, right?
I was like, good job, Scott. I was just like, I just gotta think about it for a little bit.
Yeah. You know, and then we have our staff meeting at 8:30?
Yeah, you're bringing coffee, right? 8:45.
8:45, yeah. So, gotta be here early, although it's spring break this week, so I don't have to do school drop-off, so I haven't been able to get here earlier.
I think that's why it was set at 8:45, because Paul used to drop his kids off every morning.
Thank God it wasn't 8 a.m.
Love you, Rock. Pat did that when he was the interim, he scheduled at 8 o'clock, and I was like, I will do my best, but I can't promise. And I think I
That's
got
kind of how I felt on,
10.
that's kind of how I felt when I set out the thing for Friday, I was like, ooh, 8? I mean, I'm always
That
here,
is at
but like,
8 a.m.
who's gonna be rolling through the 8:15?
Yeah,
like,
and
sorry.
you have to, go upstairs, sit your stuff down, check your emails.
Well, and that's like if they start with like, because I'm always here, if they start with me, I'm like, that doesn't do you any good, because my presentation will be like a whole minute and a half. I'm like,
Find a slide.
I have one whole slide.
Okay, for the clerk's office.
Well, that's why I was like, I read Scott's email, and he's like 10 to 15 minutes. I was like, you're getting like maybe 3, because that's longer than.
CIP.
I was like, that's longer than my budget presentation each year. So that's why I was like, hello,
Well,
thank you.
what I was thinking is I saw 10:15, I'm like, okay, and he's like, 1 to 2 slides. I'm like, I only got one slide to song for 10-15 minutes. I need like 10 slides, but I managed it, but mine's not gonna be probably 10 to 15 either.
Yeah, I did my one slide. I was like, 1 to 2. I was like, 1 seems sufficient.
Some departments got 3 to 5.
That's
so.
true. I did not need that either. It's just like, I'd have been like one word a page, like the clerk's office, done.
Just a photo, really a picture.
Just pictures of what we do.
This is us.
Yeah, we are having Melanie Shigley help us out
Mhm.
in the city manager's office till we get our person in place. And I remember one, I was like, we need copy and pages, please, for the meeting. Like, help that meeting go well.
Yeah.
You know what I wanna try is the breakfast sandwiches at Donut Palace. I think they're sandwiches, I think they did breakfast croissants.
When I
Like
go to
in
the counter, I
cheese.
see the donuts and I just go that and that.
Well, I looked them up, when I saw their menu, they had like breakfast sandwiches.
They do, although sometimes on their really popular days, they sell out of stuff. So just beware earlier.
I've never tried that.
Yeah.
I never really had a breakfast sandwich.
I almost stopped by today, cause I was here at like 7. No.
Yeah, we're still getting you to the food places around town,
I know.
right? Okay. Julie and I were gonna go to Vivo and check that out. The new event place, they moved it from Overland Park, they came to Leavenworth, downtown. We call it the Old Grinders, Honeydew,
Yeah.
by the Carousel Museum.
Yeah, somebody was talking about the Suburban, and that was a place somebody had suggested to me too. They have a cool lunch or patio. But they do date night as well.
You just gotta drive out the way.
Yeah.
You have too many good spots in the dock, so.
Yeah.
I mean, and by too many, I mean.
All the
like,
barbecue ones.
Well,
Yeah.
there's that, and then like, my favorite Mexican place is there. Only 2.
Which place is there?
Well, I love El Pollo Rey, because you can never go
Oh,
wrong
yeah.
with Chicken King. Like, delicious. And then I love Jarocho.
Is that like in Armourdale?
No, wait.
There's one in Armourdale.
Yes,
I think.
yes, it is in Arborville.
I've heard they have the freshest seafood.
It is so good.
Do it like legit there. Never
Yes, like fried fish, like fried whole fish, is so. They do a brunch Sunday like once a month, and it's like all you can eat till after.
Were you- yeah,
just
just
order
order
like from the
separate.
set menu or what they've got.
Yeah.
Like, so you.
You wanna get
No, I mean,
No,
but I have to.
Ah.
He was there to meet the chef, who's,
No,
his last name is
Been
Falcon,
through-
which is like the coolest thing ever. Like, so like, his name is Chef
Cover
Falcon.
just,
And he's from Veracruz, and so he
It's
like
hard for
wanted
you
to
to
bring, like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, here, and so he flies in,
actually
like, he'll
was
fly
his first parade, so
in,
he
oysters
brought
from
his
like
family,
Sahara.
his wife and teacher were there on spring break. So he was
And
able to
then,
go,
like, his
so
wife
he's got it covered on the
is,
city events that we're done.
Well, as far
She's
as
Japanese.
weather's concerned.
So they opened a like sushi place down in Brookside.
Which is nice, because
And
the
so it's
veterans
kind of like, so
parade
some of that, like, you can get a little bit of like
probably
the Hirocho kind of
cold
fusion into
weather
their
every year
sushi
that I've
and
been
sashimi
here,
and
that's-
stuff, but
Yeah, these
I was like,
parades that
interesting.
November
But it is,
mid-March, it could be
Just
70,
gets-
it could
Really?
be.
I think my brother-in-law had recommended that place.
It's
heater.
right, that's-
The race was on to get.
yeah, no children, so what else can we do other than just eat, so that's what we do, we like explore and just eat.
I saw some,
And then we went out to also
Not that I know of.
kind of,
it was
I wouldn't call it, I don't know if I'd call it
Stoplight
water
was the
rail,
last, the stoplight
but
was
it's
the timing was
slightly
last.
north
I
of
saw
that.
some people, they were parking
Is,
in the parking lot.
I think it's called the Blue Purple.
And I didn't know, they could have known it was.
And it's
somebody.
it's
Yeah,
tiki bar?
pull over, take a phone call from them. It was some
Oh,
sort
is that
of
like a
traffic.
hill area?
I don't know,
You had them going.
I feel like,
I know we,
Isn't Starving a little more
we
like-
changed the
By the
traffic
city
signals
hall?
here.
yeah, it's not,
So they're
it's
designed
more
to
towards the
be,
river,
green,
honestly.
on less.
So they have a view off their back patio overlooking
So
like
their
their entire
timers,
Casey Mall.
I mean, you sat at a light, and like, there's nobody
Melissa
else
actually
downtown
told me about
sitting at this light.
His, her husband's really into tiki drinks and,
So that's
So
a nice
Ryan and I-
improvement, but yeah.
so we checked it out, they have really good drinks.
Sensor stuff.
Nothing's coming up when I looked it up, but it's,
I wanna say it's
Blue Pearl Tiki Bar.
Yeah.
Oh, the Blue Palm.
Blue Palm, yes. I was like, it's blue something.
You got the street pulled up and you're looking at 100-year-old infrastructure.
But it was, that's
That
super
in some
fun,
ways,
we've been
nothing
there.
that necessarily impacted the
There are some
project,
good little bars in
which was
there.
really good, that was
That's
the
like a
big
good
worry,
spot to
is,
be.
you uncover something, is
Yes.
it gonna be $500,000?
And then of course there's always like,
uncover it, or
coffee,
was it,
that,
please
and
don't
slabs
get
are across the
Yeah.
street, so.
Well, I meant things like some of the old, just
I used to
aging
go to all those
structures.
places, although I've never been to Blue Palm.
But
Relatively new.
I mean,
Yeah, when I
our,
was at the
our
UG,
stormwater system
did a
goes
lot of-
under the streets, our.
Before our city commission
sanitary
meetings, we would
sewers,
always
so there's a lot of
have
stuff going on under there. You recall, that's why personally I had to change the project.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So it went from a larger project,
Somebody
that
actually
state
once
funds
brought
$1
it to me,
million,
like,
if then a
I
$7
think
million
it's easier, there's
price
about
tag,
four,
to
and
do
I'm
all
like,
that,
yeah,
brought it
that's-
$2 million block,
That's loud.
so. Brought it down to
It's
Or-
fuzzy,
That-
You know
as
what?
long as you're not talking to
Yeah.
neighbors, it's
Yeah.
fine,
Uh,
so that's, I mean, it's more the perception is the problem
Uh-huh.
than it is the actual issue, like everyone's like, let's talk about meeting tonight. They go, like if your city clerk's there, she'd be like, stop,
You know,
get on the phone, stop.
Well, we always do that at City Hall, so yeah, staff was there, monitoring.
And they tell us, sometimes we do state projects, they tell us
Maybe
that
just call
because
it
of some of their
city.
requirements, they increase costs, they have additional inspection and other things.
Definitely, this is
We
a
generally
very
not
high
even
privilege
for
for eating
state
food.
restaurants, sometimes
Very
the overall cost might slightly, we're thinking like 10% or 20%, but, that one, I think everyone,
What time are they coming back?
said, they were worried about the,
31.
systems underneath, it was utilities underneath, which was included, and they were like, we're nervous to put a price tag on that, we don't know what we're gonna uncover. So we were told that the bid higher was probably, I mean, I get it.
Were there any issues with, any of the buildings that were along the construction route?
I've heard some grumble about it,
Yeah.
but nothing that I would say has been like submitted to the city as an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that some of these buildings are old, so, there was some work and some rumbling at the same time. It's also the city's truck route.
Yeah,
So-
well, I remember a lot of the complaints were, before the project was done, with just these, like the size, not the size, but the contours of the street, and just
Yeah.
how trucks would have, like, we're just going constantly up and down between, so it's much smoother now, it's gotta be a better experience if you're in one of those buildings.
I would think so. I mean, even for a car, when
Right.
you would hit some of those, you're gonna almost jump over them. Hopefully it's just it looks cleaner, nicer. If you don't know that there was a change, you may not appreciate it, but those of us,
Yeah.
I say I used to hold my breath when a semi was next to me in my lane, just, the roads weren't designed for that.
That, the width of that makes, we never meet current standards before. Well, probably didn't a year ago.
That's the story of Leavenworth.
would meet current standards, we would never build this and do this, and, you know. 1800s, though, they were like, oh, this would be fine, all 40 of us agree it's a good idea.
What's it
Yeah, right.
especially with that Delaware being done, that project. What was it?
It's been, I mean, we're doing maintenance on that as a project, so
Yeah.
it's been, I think,
I think we've got two major thoroughfares going through downtown.
Yeah.
Pretty
I mean, it's not up to me, I'd love to do at least one more. You know, I think there's potential for maybe to do that on Cherokee and just, you know, kind of keep working on that. That really would be Main Street, would almost need to drive that as a need and kind of explain what that could do. But I'd like to see us, you know, at least have on the plans, you know, what's the next big project? And it may not be, you know, 5, 7, 10 years from now, but just so we're starting that.
Well, and it helps drive people when it's like, right? The downtown sidewalk project is a great project. Does it pay for much of that? Any of it?
The ADA sidewalk ramping project they're gonna do?
No, the one like the improvement project, they went back to planners and the papers.
Generally, that's all city. If we're talking sidewalks, it's either city funds, sometimes we have done CDBG, if the area qualifies for that. So we did some of that more to the north, like by the preschool, the pre-K
At Montessori?
over there. We've done several sidewalk projects, but you know, it's competing resources, sidewalks, streets, alleys. That's something that we kind of do as needed, but we continue to hear about. We should do all the alleys. Yes, and then we see the dollar amount and we go, well, maybe we'll just keep filling the pockets.
Sidewalk, you're right, 'cause you want to replace sidewalks or add sidewalks where there aren't, but for everyone that you do, there's probably a terrible one somewhere else.
Yeah. And, I mean, we know our population in some ways, because of the services and things that we have here, retirees, average is a little higher. So it's a pain point for us, to need sidewalks for just accessibility to get around in downtown, other areas. We hear that, at the same time, dollar amounts.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we have the cost share program, so the city will cost share if the business owner wants to
Yeah.
have their sidewalk, and they're still paying money
Yep.
to improve the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's been helpful, we've used it a couple times for the ADA ramps. Really adds nothing for like, when's the project on Wireless, sorry, 20th?
They had to redesign because they couldn't get what I would call certain easements. So they did some redesign work, that was approved.
We'll probably post when school's out.
I should know offhand, I don't know offhand, I know I have some notes on it, I just don't know the dates, because that's gonna happen sooner, and then we're still on for the intersection of Limit. That's the other project over there. Both will be good, but they'll be kind of a hassle during the construction.
That one at 10. That's, a lot of people think I would go to Walmart.
Well, and 3 schools, right?
Yeah.
So high school, middle school, intermediate school, and Henry Leavenworth, depending on where you're coming from. So, yeah, that's gonna be fun. They'll have to do it at the same time. I think that's the plan.
Get it done between last day of school and first day.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Right, write that in the contract. It's coming up, I can't remember offhand. Got a lot of good projects.
Is it like adding turn lanes or median, what's the project? Is it
10 limit,
Yeah.
they're gonna redesign the whole intersection, so there's a chance they might look at turn lanes. I mean, you know that they have to purchase property.
Yeah.
Sister right now, she's done like 3 workouts
I don't know what
today.
the options
Elon,
are, but
you're
that's what
okay.
people smarter than me who are design.
I questioned her everything, right?
Easier flow.
Yeah.
I used to drive that, I got
She
my.
just finished.
Just say,
does
she wear, does she stay at home?
She wears, yeah, she
How
does she have
time to get 3 workouts in? There's no turn light.
I also
There's
question her
waiting.
technique.
Those cars will
She's
always
lying.
run the light.
I think
and
she
then
puts it
you're
on when
trying to
she's
make
walking around the house,
turn,
and she
set up
says,
like that.
"Go
There's stuff
walk."
like that, every direction. Every place of that has a high traffic flow. It's not like any of those streets are quieter, where you're only gonna have 2 points of conflict. That's all 4.
Yeah, I don't know. at that intersection, it's like 10, between 10 and 2 probably. So I don't see,
Yeah.
I don't see what you're talking, I mean, I know it's busy, but
Sure.
not like you're talking.
It's the, like, every time you're gonna add a school situation and the time frames and usually they're dropping kids off on a time frame, trying to get to work on a time frame. I always say us parents can get a little crazy, fine, I own that, so, you know, it happens. And there's just so many, that's just, a central wheel area, and high schoolers going right there, not always the most careful or attentive drivers, and slow, so add that in the mix.
We get Limit Street, I mean, heading west past 10th Street, it gets residential pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, for the most part, it's all, I mean,
It's all residential.
it's once you get past 10, but then that's the turn-in to the middle school and the intermediate school. So if you're dropping your kids off, I think that's the way you have to go in and out, the way they have the traffic patterns for drop-off.
Okay.
So, yeah, that, however that works.
I remember before they changed, I didn't know before they changed the drop-off, and before they had the parking, it was.
I hear those stories. I was there when they had made improvements on it.
I didn't, well, I guess when we had something before the planning commission, there were people talking about, oh, it's terrible. I went out, I was like, it's a problem. Then we flew a drone there, like
Okay.
during pickup,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was,
awful.
it looked, because there were these pictures where, like 1 minute increments, you saw like, go back up, back, and this just like snake of cars went around. Oh, that is a problem.
So what organization are you from?
Green Lawrence.
Oh, okay. Are you a Green Lantern?
Yes, Jeremy,
Oh,
I think we've probably known before.
Yeah.
Portillo, Jerry Greenmeyer. Kim is our new guru for planning and community development.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've emailed lots of times back and forth already, had some calls, had some meetings, so.
And then you're on the LCDC board, so economic development for the county.
Yep, here.
Hi, man.
Hi. Presenting myself.
We're definitely. Okay, I was like, look at
Be like,
me,
"Hi."
I was like, what are you gonna say?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
what are you
definitely.
doing?
No, outside work.
You coming back, you not coming back. How do I do this?
What? That's high bar riveting. So you'll just say, you'll gavel back in, and the meeting is now, resumed, and then we do need to close the special meeting, so we'll need a motion to close the special meeting, and then we will resume the study session.
I keep managing to get the same seat.
You gotta pull your lever down?
Look, look,
Oh, the
look,
boat
look,
can
look.
gavel back in.
I gotta lean like this so it'll be straight.
So I don't know, I'm sure that this isn't the same seat they usually
Okay.
have there.
All right, we're gavel back into the special meeting. And now I need a motion to close the special meeting.
So moved.
So, yeah,
right.
second.
All right. Motion is made and second. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengela.
Aye.
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 All right. Now, do I need a motion to open, I just continue the regular?
Just resume the study session.
Okay,
I
we're
know, I'm
resuming the
sorry.
study session.
So
All right.
messy.
So, next up is Reinvestment Housing Initiative District, RHID discussion.
All right, well, let me get right on into it here.
All right, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for waiting.
Okay.
We saved the best for last.
So a little bit of background I'll give you guys on this discussion that we're having tonight. It essentially comes driven by a little bit of the market. We've received some inquiries from developers and other people who are potentially interested in using this program. It's something that some of our sister cities, neighboring cities have adopted. Lansing recently adopted an RHID policy. I think Tonganoxie may have one.
They do.
So some of our surrounding communities are getting involved in this. And so I think that's why we're seeing an increase in interest in this generally. Should I wait for?
Can we take a quick 2 minutes?
You want to?
You can announce a recess, Mayor,
Yeah,
on your own,
quick,
so.
quick.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna take a 2-minute recess. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Cool.
And I was gonna wait for somebody to come back then.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. So we took a recess real quick.
Ed had to go to the bathroom and then,
I've been talking all day.
And then
I'm
Jermaine had to go to
drinking
the
so
bathroom.
much water when I get home.
your mouth dry.
Yeah, no, just when I talk all day, it's just like I'm thirsty.
I get rough at the end of the day. Oh man, I feel like I don't have a voice by Tuesday evening sometimes.
Well, I'm excited to hear about this. Did you bring your child down to see the?
Yep, the only commissioner who saw us was Jermaine, but we yelled at all the commissioners that we saw. But yeah, Jermaine had the motorcycle guy. He's like, all right, we got a special show
yeah.
for you, and here you go, Scott.
That's cool.
But Holly couldn't hear us because she was in front of the fire trucks and they were making noise.
Did you get him dressed up?
No, we didn't have anything green for him other than we had these like neon green athletic shorts, so he was wearing those.
Oh my gosh, some of the kids were so cute. Some of the little kids had little onesies and things in their hair and sunglasses, the green sunglasses.
It was
It's pretty wild.
the fire, and like, so the mayor was in that front part of the parade. It was like fire and police cars and then her car. And they all passed, and everyone was like, is that it? And then
There was a
there
big
was a
gap.
huge
There was a
gap.
big gap, and there was a lot of gaps in there, and Tim was
Why
like
was there
going
a
crazy. We had signs that said stop, and we should have had signs that said speed up, because they were going too
She
slow.
was stopping people. Anyway, all right, we all back? Okay, I see you. All right. We're back from our recess, and thank you, Kim. We all needed a bio break. You can begin.
All
Again.
right, yeah, so let me just kind of recap what I had quickly said there. This is coming to you tonight because we've received interest from potential developers who may want to use this program. Some of our surrounding cities, Lansing, Tonganoxie, Baser, have implemented similar programs for an RHID district. This is a program that historically has been called Rural Housing Incentive Development, and you may be familiar with it by that name. That was started in Kansas, I believe, in the late 90s. However, in years since then, there have been updates to that legislation, and one of those updates amended the legislation so that larger cities are eligible for certain projects, and then it also updated the types of projects that are eligible, which I'll get into here in a little bit. But essentially, the baseline of the program remains the same, that it's an incentives program that looks at redirecting tax buildup from what would just go into city coffers to finance infrastructure development for these development and housing projects. Specifically, it is focused on housing development. That can be single family, multi-family, or second story residential in commercial mixed use districts, so like the downtown area. Generally, it does not increase property taxes, but it does redirect those taxes, tax gains that would happen from the development of that property. So here I have an example for you. In 2025, we have an undeveloped lot, say they're paying $50 in taxes. If we establish that lot to be within the RHID district, which it is something that requires commission approval, their taxes for the next 10 years as they develop, or however long we establish, they would continue paying the baseline tax. And then the additional of that money, that tax growth, would be reimbursed to them. So, well, essentially they would pay the $500, but then we would reimburse them the $450, however much it has increased in the time since we established the district. A little bit about how it works. Like I mentioned, the city commission and staff would do a housing analysis, housing needs assessment, and basically determine where we would want to establish the district at. After we've determined that, there's a process that I have outlined in the policy report of the different steps that you would take, but essentially we determine the district. It needs approval by the city commission, it needs a buy-in from the county, and it would need approval from the school districts. And then we take it to the Department of Commerce for approval. the Kansas Department of Commerce for approval. They would approve the district, and then we would work with our developers to actually start using the program. There are two different types. So subdivision infrastructure, RHID, which is more of the classic framework where you're using it to build single-family subdivisions. And that tax rebate can go towards infrastructure, cost of land, utilities, that type of thing. And then there's the upper story RHID, which is a newer component in the last several years, where the RHID can be used in a central business district for upper story development of housing only. So it's still housing focused, but in this particular format, it can be used for other remodeling costs, so HVAC, floors.
Fire?
Yeah, what was that?
Fire suppression?
You know, that's a great question.
Oh, yeah.
I will have to look into that. That is a great question. But it opens it up to more uses when it's in the upper story.
So this would be good for, that would be good for the downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be, essentially because it has to be located within the central business district, that's really the only area that here in Leavenworth, we can do the upper story.
Especially, it's especially worth considering for those, the buildings that have businesses on the ground floor, and they have those second and third floor apartments that are vacant. You know, we're not I mean, it's up to you guys, obviously it's your decision. We're not necessarily considering recommending for saying completely repurposing an entire warehouse for lofts or something like that. So, but just for your consideration on that.
That's why that fire suppression would be
Yeah,
important.
I can look into that for you. And yeah, like Scott stated, really the purpose tonight is to have an initial look at this. It's something that's been brought to our attention, so we want to pass it along to you guys as well and get the discussion started.
Question,
Yep,
is it a developer that has to want to do this, or
no.
somebody who owns a building?
So, do you mean once we establish the district?
Yeah, and if a building is within the district, you know, can the building owner say, I want to use this, sorry, it's
They could
ID,
take
for the sake of the second floor and above?
advantage of it, yeah.
Yes.
They could take
Exactly.
advantage of it.
So
Similar
the owner
to
can do it, yeah.
Similar to what the other,
the NRA.
yeah, right.
So similar functionality to that. Here I just put together a brief listing of potential benefits and considerations. It could help with housing development, but in the consideration side, it could be also a long-term program up to 25 years where you want to look at how that's going to affect the long-term tax rolls. It would require initial city investment to do the housing needs analysis as well as staff support to continue administering the program. And then really this should be used in areas where it's difficult to develop without incentives. So if we have a piece of greenfield development that is ripe for development, that may not be the best area where we want to establish a district. But again, that would be what we would look at in the housing needs analysis. So that would really guide our direction on that.
But you don't have to use it for that,
You don't have to use it for that, no, you could do the upper story. But then it has the positives that it can help spur some of that economic growth for housing development. And it's really multifaceted in that you can use it for multifamily, single family, or some of those mixed-use buildings. So it has a variety of approaches that you can take with it.
So when you set up a district, do you have to set it up for that certain type, or?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yep, you have to set it up for that certain type, and you have to specifically provide the legal description boundary of that area. And I believe the legal descriptions for the properties that are within that district, so.
Okay.
This is my last slide here, but I just wanted to put together a quick comparison of this program as well as some of the other incentive programs that the city is already operating. So we do already have the neighborhood revitalization area, which is in the northern portion of Leavenworth. And that is a similar functioning program, but that can be used for residential, commercial, or industrial. So that covers a little bit more of a wider range, and typically that program only lasts for 5 to 10 years, whereas this one can go up to 25. And then we have the TIF district, which to my understanding is a little bit different than what these would be, just by the way that they're funded and developed. And then that one again can be used for commercial, industrial, or mixed use.
Can you tell me the NRA boundaries?
I do not know them off the top of my head. Penny, do you know?
I can. Let's see if I can use them top of my head. I believe it is, the northern boundary is Metropolitan Ave. It goes south, I think, all the way to Spruce Street. I'm gonna double check that. It goes to the west to, it's either Broadway or 10th. It definitely goes to Broadway. I don't know if it goes as far as 10th. And then it goes past 4th Street to Esplanade. So it's pretty much the entire northeast sector of the city is the NRA program. And the map is available on the city's webpage.
So why aren't more people, like, why can't the downtown people use NRA, but they can use RHID? 'Cause
Well, so that's a question that we would like to answer better internally is why is the NRA not being used as much as it could be? Is that because it's not the right tool and RHID may be a better tool?
Right.
Or is that a messaging issue, we're not getting out there enough? Is it that the rebates just don't cover the gap in costs that developers feel they would need to? We don't know the answer to that, so I think before we get too far down the process, I think it would be wise for us to really look into why is the NRA not as successful as we feel it could be or whatever, so.
Because I feel like when this RHID came on the scene, developers were excited, people were coming to us. I haven't been on the commission that long, but I've never seen anybody knock on a door for NRA. So there must be something better, or I don't know.
It could well be that that's the case, we just, we haven't
Right.
looked at that internally.
What I do like about the RHID is it does address when Dr. Adams was here, and he was talking about two things, that he didn't have housing for his teachers, and then he didn't have, for better lack, butts in the seats because their attendants. I like that the RHID does promote that development in town, for developers to build houses.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of covers that gap with the school board, which hopefully if it,
was
maybe
gonna say,
that's why schools are approving this.
Yeah, why do we even need the schools
Because
and
it's
the
property
county?
taxes.
So the
Property tax.
county and the
So this would
school,
affect their property
Yes.
taxes
Yeah,
as well.
and the county.
so they have to sign off on it.
So
this-
basically, we wouldn't be getting any
You'd be
additional,
Correct.
Right.
You'd be
property
getting the
tax
same property tax you were
we are
getting
now.
prior to the construction for so you can set it up to 25 years. I think most of our neighbors have not done 25, I think most of them did like 20. But
That's still a long time.
that is a long
Still a long
time.
time, yeah.
That is a long time.
And so it has to go through all the approval processes, so if someone denies it, then.
Yeah, so if the school board or the county veto them, then yeah, we would be pretty much out. And my understanding is the appetite for these is waning among some of our, not just but among other county governments as well.
why?
Because they don't want to lose out on the property tax revenue, so.
Well, if
I'm
you
not
don't have it
saying it's-
anyway.
Yeah, it's,
I
I'm
mean,
not
if you don't
saying
have it
it's a
anyway, what,
flat no, but
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of dumb. I know I've dumb question. So developer comes in, our RHID, builds 100 homes. And then someone buys the home. The person who buys the home still has to pay property taxes at the rate of what the house is worth, right? So they're not, once the
Yeah.
houses are built, they're not gonna be losing out money, they'd be gaining money, right? Because there's 100 more homes in the county.
Well, that's something that we'll need to look into, because I don't know that I have the answer for that.
I think that they pay what the property tax would be.
Right, so
Yeah.
the county's actually gonna make more money with 100 new homes than they would with an empty lot.
Sure, so but they don't lose out on the,
Like that, though. They
Yep.
don't- They wouldn't look at it
but
like
having
that.
more housing, you've got
Look,
more
look,
people in the housing, you've got more
was a
schools. I know
developer.
he'd wanna talk.
Can I answer your question?
Yeah.
Or what I think happens?
Come up,
Okay.
Yeah.
come up. I was hoping you'd say that.
Have you
You know what you're talking about.
Well, I haven't done, I was part of the conversation in the city of Lansing with this, and I've worked with our consultant on this for Lansing. There's two ways my understanding is there's two ways that these RHADs can happen. One is a bonded and one is pay-as-you-go. So I think in your situation, it would probably be a bonded deal, and that's why people are still paying taxes, and then the taxes are collected, paid to the bonding agency, who's already paid off the developer. If you have a pay-as-you-go, like, someone who's gonna hold the thing, then it just, you're reimbursed until the applicable costs are paid off. So I think if you're doing a development, you're paying things off, it'll probably be a bonded project. I don't know this for sure, but that's what I suspect could happen.
Okay. And so obviously, if Tonganoxie's doing it and Lansing's doing it, county signed off on.
In the schools.
In the schools.
In the
that
schools.
signed off
Correct.
theirs, right?
Correct. But I don't, and again, it would appear that the school district at least is considering these options based on their need for students, but no RHID has gone before the Leavenworth School District.
Right, okay. Okay.
Oh, can you set up more than one district?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it could be you could do downtown, you could be 28th Street.
So that's what, from staff's perspective, what we would certainly recommend, if this is something you guys want to consider, is to certainly take a targeted approach to it. As Kim mentioned, you don't want to, give up opportunities for development that would be developed anyways. So it's a matter of finding those problem
Finding properties
areas.
that you can't.
Yeah, and giving that incentive to developers,
Well, I'm a big proponent of North Leavenworth, so anything they can develop up there, and I know Jermaine is too.
Yeah. So, but we already have that in the NRA, right? So that's what I want to find out. We've had it in NRA, why hasn't,
Why is it being used?
yeah, and then why would this one be better if this one was implemented?
But that's,
Um,
it is residential too. I was thinking of
Yeah.
mostly commercial.
I definitely think
Industrial.
this would be amazing for our downtown. And I'm a proponent of it, bringing in any new housing, affordable, or don't call it affordable anymore, attainable housing.
Attainable housing. Well, just housing. We need, and we've been told a long time ago that we need quality replacement housing for those old houses up in
Yes.
North Leavenworth
Right.
that are falling down, so.
And you said you're looking to the fire suppression. Yeah.
So what's our next move? Do we, as a commission, need to,
Census or?
So, yeah, if you want us to proceed with this, I think probably the next step is we would conduct our own housing needs assessment.
Yeah.
That may be, we haven't gotten quotes on that yet, that may be within my purview to just spend it. We don't know yet. A developer did provide a housing needs assessment for us that we provided portion of to you, free of charge to the city, which we certainly appreciate. And it did provide some information, but after kind of consulting with other communities, they suggested that we conduct one on our own, and so that we have a little more, I don't know, what's the word, our fingers more on the pie or something, but just so it more targets the information that we need.
Yeah, and I'll state, so you mentioned that that's a portion of one, that is actually the full housing
Excuse me,
survey that
yeah.
they provided for us.
Okay.
So it's really an initial look more so at where we're at. I think it's a lot, 13 pages or something long, and some of the surrounding communities that we've looked at, their needs assessment is, 40 to 60 pages long, and it includes things like recommendations, priorities and that type of thing. So really, that's kind of a baseline of the existing data, and then we would want to get into what are we doing with this data for that survey.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
yeah, I agree.
The more information we can get, the better.
We have no problem with this part of Senate Bill 17 you sent us, where, let's see, any city prior to July 1st, 2013 is located in whole or in part within the boundaries of a county designated by the United States Federal Emergency Management Agency under Major Disaster Declaration, FEMA-1691-DR or FEMA-1699 as eligible to receive individual public assistance from the United States federal government, blah, blah, blah. We don't have any.
What is your question?
The question is, does this thing affect us to the point of, no, you're not eligible?
For FEMA?
Yeah.
No, I don't think
I
so.
mean, we've never been declared a disaster, I don't think.
What section is that?
Page 12,
Go to page 12, and it's about 2/3 of the way down, section 8.
We will need to read it and confirm that with the city attorney, but no, I don't think FEMA cares what kind of a housing development is. They'll come regardless if it's a big
Oh,
enough
yeah, no,
disaster.
this is just talking about, you know, what could make you ineligible for using this?
Yeah, it seems to be if we have been declared a disaster.
Greenfield
what I'm
like
asking.
disaster.
Then
Yeah.
that may have an impact.
Have we ever been?
I don't think we have anything
No,
like that.
you know, obviously, we wouldn't recommend this for like a flood, construction of a floodplain or something like that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we were, when they had that huge flood.
No,
in
I'm
83,
all for checking to see how it
Was
flows.
this a disaster?
Yeah, it was. It was.
So, it appears
Off
we're
the
all in
subject.
consensus to move forward
Okay.
with the next steps for this.
So our next step is we'll probably RFQ or RFP probably for a housing needs study. And see, whatever, I don't know which one is the best. We'll confer with Penny and Kim on that, and then we'll come back to you guys once we have that.
Yeah, and I think that would be good to have anyway for grants and lots of stuff. just
Yes.
To see where we're at.
Yeah.
Depending on the cost, we may bring it back to you guys, you know, if it's not within my purchasing authority, obviously we'll have to bring it back to you guys, so.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Well, thank you.
Thank you, and I
Thank
did
you.
leave you guys with some resources, just general information, so as, at the city, as we're still learning about this project, you guys have the first source information available in the packet tonight as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy, for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being on the spot there. Scott, do you have anything for us this week?
Yeah, just real quick, about the goal-setting session on Friday, I just kinda wanted to let you guys know how that's going to go. We're gonna mix things up a little bit this year, just to make the way that, you know, frankly, changes the way that I would like to see them changed.
Okay.
In the past, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here, it's just how I would like to do it. In the past, it kind of feels like the goals have been independent from the budget itself. I think that it's great to have, you know, not lofty, but, you know, goals and projects that we all wanna look forward to. But given that our financial situation is not dire, but it is serious, I would like our goals, or I would like our budget to reflect the commission's goals. So what I would like us to do is to take an approach of how do you want, on Friday, discuss with us, how do you want the budget to look based on how you want the city's projects and direction to go. Does that make sense? So that way, when we have this goal setting session with you guys, we're not gonna have as many, that big thick packet that we've had in the past. It will be more targeted, more prioritized, and then we will come back to you guys with budget that reflects those goals, if that makes sense. To help you with that, every department head has sent me 1 to 3 slides, and each department head is going to present you guys 15 minutes tops, each department. It'll be less than that for some departments, like the city clerk's office. But they're gonna, yeah, they're gonna
Half hours?
they're basically, each department head is basically gonna give you like a little mini state of the department.
Okay.
And talk about, you know, what issues they're seeing, what they view their priorities are. And that'll be, myself and finance team at the very beginning will give you a general overview of where we are financially in the city, what we're looking at, and all of that, so you can have that in your brains. And then in the last 2 hours of the meeting will be you guys, turning it over to you guys, with that information that we've all just thrown right at you, and giving us some overarching ideas on how you guys want us to move into the future, okay?
Yeah.
I love that, because I feel like we set these pie in the sky
Right.
goals every year and then we don't touch them. We don't go back at them. I mean, I know Griff and I still want Christmas lights, right, though?
And yeah,
I like Christmas lights.
I'm just using that example, but yeah.
well, thank you for that, Mayor. That does remind me. And then, once we have those in place, we will periodically bring back to you a project update basically on, here's what we're doing on these goals from time to time to show you that we're actually working towards them. We're spending the city's money to achieve those goals, and all of that, so.
Yes, thank you.
We think that's 8 to 12? What was the?
8 to 12, yes. There will be breaks and there will be treats and coffee and caffeine and all of that, so, yeah.
On the bar.
In here.
All right.
Mayor's bringing the omelet bar, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all I
All
have.
right, thank you. Griff, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Nancy?
No, I'm good.
No.
Thank you.
Ed, anything?
Zippity doo dah.
Did you say something you got?
That's what I said.
What's that from? It's a song, isn't it?
Song of the South.
Sounds, oh, gosh, okay.
Yeah,
good.
some of the
Shout out to the St. Patrick's Day Committee. Parade was amazing.
Thank you.
Weather was great, and everyone
I
that
didn't do that much.
participated and supported, it was amazing. God bless and have a great week.
Beautiful day,
Yeah.
beautiful day.
Yep, that's all I have as well. It was a great parade, great day, beautiful weather. Apparently it's gonna get cold again tomorrow, so typical Kansas weather. So everybody have a great week and we'll see you Friday morning.
All right.
Yep.
See you then.
I need to adjourn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Boom.
I'll make a motion to.
No.
No,
You don't
just
have to,
boom it.
no.
Starting
All
out.
right.
We're done.
I had study session, I feel like, for